Today we have here Doc Jan Dipasupil, and we're going to be discussing about stress and its effects on mental health and how we can build tools to overcome these stresses or deal with them better. With that, Doc, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our community here. If you can go ahead and talk about yourself, your experiences, and where you're affiliated with now.
Thank you for inviting me, and congratulations on your first show. I'm Dr. Jan Dipasupil, a lifestyle medicine and obesity medicine specialist from Providence Hospital and the Medical City. I'm also the board of trustee of the Philippine College of Lifestyle Medicine.
Nice. You know, I have seen what you've done. I follow you on TikTok.
Oh, wow.
You guys,
Thank
if you haven't followed him yet, follow him on TikTok.
Oh, wow.
A lot of interesting stuff. And I'm sure you'll appreciate all the information healthcare wise that he puts out there. I sure do. You know, I just follow through our healthcare TikTok page. But you know, we'd love to, you know, have you here and discuss more about the stress and how we can deal with it, right? Have you ever dealt with stress in your workplace?
Oh, yeah. Well, every day we are dealing with stress. And stress is inevitable, okay? And when we think about stress, the only thing that comes into our mind is always the bad thing. And there's also the good stress. We call it the eustress. So we need to distinguish the two, good stress and then the bad stress. So the good stress is something that would make us more happy, right? For example, there's an upcoming birthday, let's say your kid, okay? And you're thinking of the gift, right? A present for her. So you don't want to choose the same gift, right? Last year. Yeah. So you're really gonna check on the internet and even some stores, what is the best gift that you could give? So that is a good stress. Okay?
You tell my wife that? I don't know. She does not agree with you.
Oh, really?
The stress I get from that is my wife's getting stress on herself. Then she stresses me out with, what am I going to get? How am I going to do it?
Oh, now that is somehow the bad stress.
Okay.
Now, if you perceive that one is unpleasant, that it would disrupt your productivity or may affect your productivity, and it may cause some anxiety. Well, anxiety could be normal, but if it's becoming too persistent, then it could lead to somehow a disorder. Now, stress could have different types, or we have three things, like the acute stress, the episodic acute stress, and the chronic stress. When you say acute stress, what's happening right now? Could be the work deadlines that you may have to set to another person, right? So you have to set some deadlines that you have to finish right now. Once they have dealt with it, then the stress would go down. So that's acute stress. Okay. The second one is the episodic acute stress. That means that the workload are too much, or loads are too much, that the person cannot be able to cope with it or finish that. It means there is a chance that he or she may have a disorganized routines and even affecting the productivity. Yeah. So the result, he or she keeps on forgetting some stuff. Okay, so
that feels like me today.
Yeah. So you cannot just blame that. Oh, I'm already getting old. No. It could be because you are thinking a lot of stuff that you probably missed out some details, right?
I get it.
You cannot blame that it's aging. Okay. It could be because of the stress. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I get it.
Now, the third one is the chronic stress. This is prolonged or more than 3 months. It seems that the problems are too much, that the solutions are maybe little or not at all. So that could be have an impact already on both the physical and the mental health. So if it becomes persistent and becomes high level of stress, people could have different symptoms. One could be increasing of the heart rate and even the blood pressure that doctors may not be able to perceive or may assess that there's no really a medical condition, but because of the stress, it could have increased the blood pressure. Next would be having difficulty of sleeping, right? Yes. If you keep on thinking of certain stuff because you have to finish a certain project, maybe next week, then you may have disruptions of your sleep. Could be that another is your coping techniques. One very common for us is that we are looking for food as a way to reward ourselves. So we keep on looking for something, our favorite foods, sugary ones, salty ones, or saturated fats that may lead to overweight or obesity. On the other hand, people could also have a loss of appetite if they're really feeling there's distress. Okay? So there are numerous symptoms that people could feel when they are having the high level of stress.
I think, you named 3 types of stress. Acute stress, let's take it one by one. With acute stress, what are the symptoms of acute stress, and how would you deal with it?
Well, for the acute stress, it depends on the triggers, the sources. Well, let's say the acute stress is to finish it, just to give like a certain, or finish a deadline, okay? And the typical stress symptoms that we usually experience is that we are having the anxiety, nervousness, and then we are panicking. There are times, but once we're done with it, then we could go back to somehow the normal levels or normal.
So you're sorry to interrupt. You're talking about anxiety, right? And for a guy who lived all his life and only discovered anxiety or realized that I dealt with anxiety personally only within the last few years, there's a lot of us out there that don't understand anxiety. And now looking back at the history of my life, I realized I had anxiety all the way back to my childhood. So how do we help people to understand what anxiety is and how it works with stress, or how stress, affects anxiety or affects people in that way?
Yeah. So first, we need to differentiate stress from anxiety. Well, anxiety is like persistent and excessive worries that don't go away even in the absence of a stressor. So let's say, for example, there's a dog who wants to chase you, okay? So when you walk, or are you going to run, or are you going to stay put, okay? So that could be already could be a stress, okay? Could be anxiety. But if let's say you're already in the safe zone, you're at home, but you're still thinking that the dog could get inside your home, try to bark you or try to bite you, then it's already becoming an anxiety because the stress is no longer there, but you're already thinking of that scenario. So the symptoms of anxiety would be, of course, insomnia, okay? Excessive worries, okay? And almost the same with the stress. But the problem with anxiety disorder is that it's already affecting their daily activities, okay? Even their family, social relationships could be affected there.
So if I get this correctly, you start with stress, and stress then turns into anxiety if your mind just can't comprehend it or deal with it in the proper manner.
Yes.
Okay.
And you keep on thinking about it without the stressor.
Yeah. And that's where I hear all this mindfulness stuff and why it's important to be mindfulness about these things. So great points, because people, I mean, me, one of them, I didn't know what the difference between stress and anxiety was. Like, for me, for the longest time, it was one and the same, and I only thought of it as stress and not anxiety. And so, after, reaching out to get help with a therapist, that's when I started to figure out, hey, you have anxiety, and you need to acknowledge it, deal with it, and figure it out.